A Minnesota musician with an autism diagnosis is hitting the big time. We first introduced you to Joe Bugocki last year when he was nominated for a Nashville Songwriting Award. As David Schumann shows us, Joe is taking another major step forward in his music career.
The talent is obvious, but mentors of his say Joe Bugocki's songwriting abilities outshine his playing.
It's exciting to see where my musicality is going to go.
Right now, it's taking the Red Wing musician international.
We're in 243 countries worldwide.
Joe's now signed a writing deal with Rock the Cause Records, which is distributing his first single, a Christian track called A Friend Above All. Joe has autism and donates a portion of all his royalties to autism awareness and suicide awareness causes, as well as to music education.
Just practicing the piano at 2 years old to getting all of this national and international attention.
He's got a place in his heart for people, marginalized populations and people with challenges, and he's showing it.
It's very, very inspiring, and he approaches things fearlessly, very fearlessly.
And now he's here, living his dream.
I'm able to now support these noble causes is very, very empowering. It gives me an even more incentive to do more music.
In Red Wing, David Schumann, WCCO News.
Another Minnesota musician is gaining some major exposure for his talents. His song is now a big part of one of Netflix's most popular shows, and all of his success came as a big surprise even to himself. Here's a look at why his big break is also his saving grace.
It's just a show. I could never believe that.
Matthew Griswold's always had songs in his head and in his heart.
Particularly, I remember the first time I heard Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA, and I must have been about 2 years old. I remember hearing it in the back of my parents' car, and I heard this voice, and I felt like there was so much pain in it.
And pain is a big part of his story. The East Metro kid enrolled in the Army. He saw brutal things on the front lines of Iraq. When his service ended, his pain did not.
I've lost more, especially close friends, since I've gotten out, than when I was in.
Like his friends, he has PTSD. Thankfully, he also has music.
If I could just pretend.
When you come back from deployment and military experiences where you're exploring some pretty dark feelings, some pretty hard to talk about feelings, and then all of a sudden you learn that, well, I can at least write about them and then I can sing about them.
He was able to make a living performing in bars. He also got a licensing deal. His songs go into a bank, and TV shows have the option to pick them up.
I've had good fortunes before with everything from some decently viral videos on YouTube to some smaller TV shows.
He typically doesn't find out if a song gets picked up until he gets a check, but something atypical happened.
Dozens of emails, messages on Facebook, text messages, people asking me, hey, is that your song?
Turns out this song that he wrote in the pandemic called Let It Go and Leave It Alone was in a pivotal scene of Sweet Magnolias. It's been a top show on Netflix for a month straight.
I've been telling everybody close to me since I've been doing this that if I could ever get a #1 movie or a #1 TV show to use my song, I'll die happy.
Here we are.
Here we are. Here we are.
Suddenly, the song he wrote about letting go of pain has a hold on people around the world. He's especially popular in Norway, and now his pain has purpose.
The fact that your song might be comforting people, how does that land?
I used to dream about that as a kid, to touch people in that way. And, I think there was a time where you had to be a rock star to do that. And to think that now, a bar singer from Minneapolis can do it somehow it's awesome.
A heartfelt honor for a hometown hero. World War II veteran Jake Larson was honored this month at the Steele County Free Fair. And if he looks familiar, there's a reason. WCCO's Reg Chapman was there to witness the warm welcome.
Jake Larson says he is just a country boy, born on a farm and raised with no running water or electricity.
This is one of the highlights of my life.
Jake is being honored for service to country. It all began by telling a little fib.
I joined the National Guard right here in Owatonna in 1938. I was 15 years old.
Jake gained rank quickly, rising from the lowest infantry soldier to one of the highest.
I got in on the planning the invasion. I got the Bronze Star for my planning. Every person that landed on D-Day came through these fingers.
Jake talks vividly about his war experience, but his story was interrupted, and rightfully so, by family.
We're Shirley Moore's daughters.
Hi.
Oh, yes.
Hi. My great uncle.
You ever watch me on TikTok?
Oh, yeah.
Jake is known by many as Papa Jake, a TikTok sensation with more than 700,000 followers. Hundreds came to hear him in person, including this special guest.
I worked in California first. I put riveters in B-17.
Helen worked in the factories replacing the men who joined the military, like Jake, who says he is the luckiest man in the world.
I went through 6 battles. I landed on Omaha Beach on D-Day. Walked through a minefield.
But he still insists that he is not a hero.
But those guys that gave their life so that I could make it, they're the hero. They're right up now, listening right now.
In Owatonna, Reg Chapman, WCCO News.
Up next, an internship, giving teens the chance to try every job in the book. We'll tell you how some lucky students were picked for the job.